Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're talking about how modern hustle culture is literally rewiring our neurobiology. And, more importantly, how we can actually put a stop to it. We live in this era where constant, overwhelming stimulation is just accepted as the norm. But today, we're really going to dig into the very real biological costs of that lifestyle, and we'll explore some scientifically grounded ways to reclaim our minds.
Think about a typical modern worker. They wake up, and before their feet even hit the floor, they are already totally overwhelmed by notifications. Now, this constant state of busyness feels productive, right? It feels like we're getting things done. But we absolutely have to ask, is this nonstop stimulation actually causing neurological damage? Are we literally trading our cognitive health for the illusion of productivity?
Well, take a look at this drop. It's staggering. Thanks to constant digital alerts grabbing our attention in these brief, fragmented bursts, human attention spans plummeted from 12 seconds back in the year 2000 to less than 8 seconds in 2013. That means we are mathematically less focused than a goldfish, which clocks in at 9 seconds. This right here is the actual physiological cost of living in an overconnected world.
So, here's the roadmap for today's explainer. We'll follow our hypothetical worker's journey from a frantic morning of burnout to a carefully restored, highly focused afternoon. We're covering the anatomy of modern burnout, quantifying the cognitive signal, attention restoration theory, autonomic regulation, and finally, designing a restored workday.
Okay, starting off with part 1, anatomy of modern burnout, the physiological cost of noise. Every single morning, our worker crashes into a wall of socio-technical noise. And we aren't just talking about loud sounds. This is a three-pronged attack on our biology. Auditory noise, like urban sirens, literally spikes our adrenaline and cortisol, and that can lead to cardiovascular disease. Then you have informational noise from smart devices, like constant task switching overtaxes our prefrontal cortex and completely disrupts working memory. And finally, internal noise. That rapid rumination and anxiety running at thousands of words per minute, that can actually trigger inflammatory genes right at the cellular level.
And the result of all this noise? It's a terrifying biological reality called digital dementia. Now, that sounds like a catchy buzzword, but it is a physical condition characterized by the shrinkage of prefrontal gray matter, the degradation of white matter integrity, and severe ADHD-like symptoms directly caused by excessive digital media use and task switching. It severely limits our cognitive flexibility and absolutely wrecks the working memory our worker desperately needs just to survive the day. Which leads us to part 2, quantifying the cognitive signal, measuring the failure. So our worker feels physically and mentally exhausted, but they haven't actually moved the needle on their core projects. To see if their internal signal is actually rising above all that external noise, we use the productivity ratio. By dividing focused work time by total work time, we find the exact percentage of hours spent completely distraction-free. Without calculating administrative recovery time, the time it takes to refocus after every single ping or alert, most people wildly overestimate their actual cognitive performance. We pair that with the plan-to-done ratio. You calculate this by simply dividing your completed tasks by your planned tasks. And this proves that without that focused attention we just talked about, the tasks our worker intends to do are simply not getting done. It's a harsh reality check, but it's a highly reliable indicator of actual task execution versus just mere ambition.
Now here is a crucial point. Aiming for 100% utilization rate is a complete trap. In our modern achievement culture, we're pushed to be perfectly utilized every single second. But trying to do that completely depletes our directed attention. It leads directly to burnout and rapid error escalation. A healthy, sustainable rate for continuous, high-level focus sits much more comfortably between 65 and 85%. You absolutely have to build in cognitive margins. Real quick, if you want to figure out your own cognitive signal-to-noise ratios and map out your workday using these frameworks, make sure you visit relaxalittle.co for the complete formulas and a much deeper dive into this productivity science.
Moving right along to part 3, attention restoration theory explained, reclaiming your focus.
Let's pivot our workers' day towards recovery on their lunch break. Attention restoration theory shows us we can actively replenish our finite, directed attention by seeking out environments with 4 very distinct properties. First, you find the physical distance of being away. Even just leaving the office building works. Then, you look for the extent of a rich environment, compatibility with your personal need to decompress, and most importantly, soft fascination. Soft fascination is all about effortless stimuli. Think about watching moving clouds or running water from a nearby park bench. It allows those analytical, top-down prefrontal networks to finally take a breather.
And get this,
Taking just a 20 to 40-minute walk in a natural setting to engage in that soft fascination improves working memory and focus by a massive 20%. That is a huge return on investment just for stepping away from your screen and letting your involuntary attention take over for a bit.
Part 4. Autonomic regulation and sensory diets, rewiring the nervous system.
But what if our worker is so chronically overwhelmed that a walk in the park just feels like another task on their to-do list? Enter neuroception. This is our unconscious, reflexive surveillance system that constantly monitors everything around and inside of us. It's the exact system that tells our worker's body whether it is genuinely safe to relax and restore, or if it needs to lock down and prepare for a threat.
When we get bombarded by constant noise, our nervous system actually cascades down this biological ladder. It drops from a healthy, socially engaged ventral vagal state of safety right down into a panicked sympathetic state. That's your fight or flight with elevated cortisol. And finally, under extreme challenge, it drops into a complete dorsal vagal shutdown where you just feel numb and immobilized.
So how do we manually pull ourselves back up to safety while sitting at a desk? We can use specific tactile inputs from an adult sensory diet. It sounds unusual, but simple things like touching textured fabrics or keeping a small bin of dry beans on your desk to run your hands through grounds your somatic system immediately. It physically signals to your neuroception that you are safe in the present moment, yanking you right out of that fight or flight cascade.
And finally, Part 5, designing a restored workday, maintenance, and action.
How do we keep the noise out once we've actually found some peace? Digital minimalism. Our worker needs to protect their working memory from digital dementia by forcing every piece of optional tech to pass Cal Newport's rigorous 3-step screen. You have to ask yourself, does this tool actively support a deep value? Is it undeniably the best way to serve this value? And can I use clear operating constraints to limit when and how I use it? If it fills those questions, it stays totally out of your restored workday.
And when the workday is over, step away from the infinite scroll. We need to apply the Bennett principle. While passive digital consumption causes severe cognitive overload, the Bennett principle suggests we should engage in demanding physical or creative hobbies. Think woodworking, knitting, or cooking. These activities ground our attention in physical feedback loops and actually boost our systemic energy instead of draining it. It's an active, fulfilling recovery.
Just another quick reminder. If you want to explore the science of sensory diets, learn more about attention restoration, and really dive deep into these strategies, head on over to relaxalittle.co. All the tools to reclaim your cognitive baseline are waiting right there.
To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this thought. Knowing that your attention is a finite biological resource, and knowing that the external noise of modern life is actively working against your brain's architecture, what actionable step are you going to take today to quiet the noise? How will you design your downtime to protect your peace? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and stay focused out there.